That's
Oh.
all. I was at a school in Washington, Connecticut called the Gunnery, which is not
Yes.
a military school,
Yeah.
named after Frederick Gunn. I was the assistant head for teaching and learning at that school, and I was there for about 22 years, and decided last year with my wife that we wanted to continue to learn something new and maybe grow a little bit in our career before we retired. So we started looking at jobs all over the place, and this job, this school we had known about because we sent someone from Gunnery to the energy lab here to look at some of the things that were being done here. Mostly for him to bring back those ideas to our school, but he just couldn't stop talking about HVA, just raving about it. And when we started to look, my wife had been looking for 2 years at jobs at this school to see what was available. And we were based, they don't understand that it's a skills-based approach, that it's an approach that brings people into contact with their place and makes them feel a sense of responsibility for it. And if you think of the bumper sticker, think globally, act locally, you got to connect to the local part to understand that. You have to actually know who you are and where you are and who the people around you are. And once you know that, you can connect to the rest of the world. That's something that we do incredibly well, and it's the thing that I've been most pleased about since I got here. I see it everywhere in our foundations program for freshmen. If you look at our Hawaiian program, they're actually making a language. We have a professor that's helping us design a curriculum not just for this island, but for this town. So it's actually based around the local region, and again brings a sense of responsibility for those students to do that. I think maybe the most important part about that, though, is that skills-based rather than the focus on content really fosters creative intelligence. And if you think about people talking about 21st century education, another nice term that a lot of people throw around and don't necessarily know what they mean by that, you really do have to be adaptable, you have to be flexible, you have to be able to connect to the world. You can't be sort of focused on your own self-interest. You have to see how you interact with other people, you have to be able to innovate, you have to be able to collaborate. And all of that comes from the place-based education we have here. Specifics about that, everything from marine biology, scuba diving. A lot of our kids, including my daughter, she will be getting a scuba certification here, but actually not just to dive, to connect with our place here. Everything from that to astronomy and connecting to Keck Laboratory. We've got a volcano right here. We have virtually all of the climate zones in this area, and this school uses them. The school connects to it. Backpacking to science, everything they do connects to it. And I think because of that, I had hoped that I was coming to a unique school. I had hoped that I was coming to something that was a little bit out of the box, and it has been so much more than anything I ever expected. The one thing that I'd ask you to consider most about that is if you look at something like, particularly a garden curriculum, it doesn't necessarily sit in your head as rigor, as something that's really challenging. It is. There are kids here doing extraordinarily advanced research and extraordinarily advanced independent study. Every senior next year will have to do a capstone, and we're not talking a little project, we're talking something very, very serious. Every single senior will have to do that. But they'll get to have some say in that. In fact, we want them to be able to initiate that and have that be independent research and independent work. And if we can get them to do that when they get to college, they'll know what to do. They won't need their professors the way a lot of other people do. They'll be able to take advantage of that education and direct it themselves. So that's pretty much what I've seen since I got here. I can talk about specific programs if you'd like. Oh, the other thing I would say, I work